Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite games, 10 out of 10 for me. This is Gaia Project and 5 things that I love about it. So without further ado, let's get into this. So Gaia Project is this interesting game where you play as a alien faction, and it's your job to expand across the universe by building up different cities and hopefully combining those cities to make federations. And these federations will give you bonuses, points, and you're doing this all in this elaborate round structure where you're going to be earning technologies in all sorts of different ways. So you have lots of little incremental passive bonuses that you can get, special abilities and upgrades and powers that you can get as you play, and it's all with no luck and perfect information, but it's done in such an interesting way where you are constantly reacting to what everybody around the table is doing and trying to anticipate what moves they may be doing. Really enjoy this one. Now let's go ahead and jump into what I really like about it. Now the first thing I love about it is just the round structure itself. Now this is one that's a little hard to go into because it's just the game as a whole. So each game is divided into rounds. So you start with a round where you'll get an income phase, and you'll look at your player boards and get a certain amount of money based on whatever your income level is. And then based on that, you are going to go into the action phase, where on your turn you do one thing. And this one thing is fairly simple. You put out a building, you activate an ability, you choose an action, you pass, you upgrade a building. This is it. These actions are so simple, so straightforward, but the implications of them are huge, and I love that about this game. And when you pass, you're also going to get these round bonus markers, so there's an incentive to passing first that you can have first dibs at these, because some are better for other factions than others. Some will allow you to score points, some will get your engine going. I really like this, and it's really easy to see the symbology across different things, because if anything has a hand, means that's your income. If anything has this pass symbol, it's when you pass. I really like this. I think it just makes a lot of sense, and it's so well done. And the loop is so straightforward. You go, production, round, do your actions. It's so clean, fantastic. I love this. So much complexity hidden behind simple actions. So fantastic, love it. That's the round structure going from that income phase into that quick action phase. Now the second thing I love has to go further in detail in that income phase, and that's the engine building. So each faction's board has a specific amount of buildings that are placed upon it. Now each of those buildings is going to have icons underneath it. Very similar to other games in this vein, whenever you play a building, you'll reveal that thing underneath and you'll get that bonus as long as that building's on the board. But here's the tricky part comes in. When you upgrade your buildings, you have to return the old ones. So all of your smaller buildings give you workers, which are a very important resource. But if you want to get access to money, you're going to have to return that back to the board when you do the upgrade action. And I think that's so clean. There's lots of different pathways to choose, and I think it's very clean, the organization here. Your little ones become the medium ones, your medium ones can go into this secondary medium or into this large building, and then those secondary mediums can specialize even further. I really like how you're not only picking on like a fundamental level of what you want to build, but you're also able to go in even deeper when it comes to this engine building. This is not only your, when you build those second level buildings, you're also able to get a tech tile, and that's what these are. These are all attached to this tech tree here, and each are going to provide their own either one-time benefit or income benefit, and that's just another layer of this engine building that I think is so crucial and so awesome. Now that being said, my number 3 favorite thing about the Gaia Project is this tech tree here. I love the tech track in Gaia Project. On your turn, whenever you build one of these scientific buildings here, you're going to be able to take one of these technology tiles, and those technology tiles are tied to one of these tracks, and those tracks are going to let you go up and unlock passive bonuses or income bonuses or one-time bonuses. It's up to you on what tracks you want to pursue. I really love that all of them are a bit different, and I love that they're all incentivized equally. And in addition, if you are near the top level of here, you also qualify to get one of these advanced tech tiles, which provide even more insane bonuses and scoring potential. I really like how you can pick from the beginning kind of the path and route you're going to take and do your best to try to do the maximum amount of that path. I really like this. I love the customization, and I love the gradual bonuses that you get along the way. How on this QIC track, you're getting more and more as you go up. I love how on the shipping track, you are slowly getting your shipping up, but once you get up to those higher levels, it becomes absurd. I love everything about this, and I just really enjoy this system as a whole. It introduced a new resource, knowledge, where you're able to use that to also make up steps, so you can advance on different tech tracks without specifically just rebuilding the same buildings, so it offers different avenues there. Love this system. That's a tech track. Now, number 4 favorite thing has to be the power system. So on your player boards, you have these purple tokens known as power. And the way power works is this is the 4th resource in the game. And this one works so funkily. So on your turn, you can spend power wherever you see this purple icon. And that purple icon is going to require you to spend them. And when you spend power, you always have to spend it from bowl 3 here. And when you spend it, it goes to 1. However, whenever you gain power, it works backwards. First, you gain power from bowl 1, and it goes to bowl 2. And then once bowl 1's empty, you move from 2 to 3. But remember, you can only spend what's in bowl 3. So you have some choices here. You can either take a really long time and let everything charge up, but once you have it there, you have a lot of power to deal with. Or you can do what's called burning power, and that's what this little icon appears for. If you have 2 power in bowl 2, at least 2, you can burn one, which means get rid of it forever to push one of your others to the right. Now, this is a very interesting decision, and in Gaia Project, there are ways to get power back, so it's not the end of the world if you do burn it, and maybe it was a misplay or a mistake, but you can really make some big moves here where, ooh, I really need this resource right now. Let's go ahead and push it. I do it. You push it over. You get that extra power that you needed. Or sometimes you have a bunch of power in bowl 2 and you just push all of it. Oh, it's so cool. Now, the other cool thing about this is if you have a smaller power bowl, naturally you have less power to move around, so it's going to charge up faster, which is also interesting because you have less power to work with, but you have more options because you're able to do it quicker. So it's really interesting. I really like this system here, and it's just really unique and really fascinating. I love this in Terra Mystica, and I really like this in Gaia Project. Now, the last thing I want to talk about are the factions themselves. So when you play the game, you're going to pick a faction. And these factions, they all have their different color, they have their own pieces that go with them, and the boards are actually double-sided. Now, in the game, there are 7 different colors that you can be, and each of those are double-sided, so 14 different combinations. Now, this is really cool right off the bat because all of them play the game differently, but each of them, not only is their ability, they have a special power at the top here that's going to be different, but their boards are sometimes different. They might have arrows that go in a different place. They might have their money and their knowledge is switched on this production track. They might have their buildings on like the completely different spots. It's up to the faction to dictate how you are going to manipulate this amazing system. Now, that being said, some of these factions are so cool based on these special abilities. So each faction has 2 abilities. They have like a starting track that they get to start up on, or like I said earlier, that modification, but they also will have this giant base here. I forget what it's called, the fortress or something like that. And as soon as you unlock it, it gives you your faction specific power. That's kind of like +1. So it could be something extremely simple, or it could be something extremely bonkers. And I think that's really awesome how there's some balances to that, where your character might have a really good ability right off the bat and their fortress is weak, or maybe you're rushing to get that fortress built because it's just that strong. Now, this is one of my favorite factions here. This is the Terrans, and they deal with the new Gaia forming mechanic. And every time that they Gaia form a planet, which means they permanently get rid of some power, well, temporarily get rid of some power, and they put it over here, after they receive it back during the income phase, they actually can spend that power as if they were spending it normally, as if it was in a power action. I think that's so neat. I love that you're able to kind of future plan with these resources based on the progress that you're making now. And I love this. I love this about this, how this system is so flexible that they are able to introduce these insane powers. You have the zivets here, I think that's what they're called, where it's on the back of this one, but it's this swarm and they're able to completely just create one big hive. You have this character that uses a power token that's worth 3 and it cycles just like the other ones, so you're kind of constantly looping that. And then you have characters that just constantly crawl up tracks or start with ridiculous amounts of income. I love this. I love the different faction specifics, and I love that when you pick these factions, it's not going to be based purely on just what's the strongest, but what is going to be doing well in a specific setup. At the start of each round, you'll have objectives that you'll get to see at the beginning of the game that give you extra points if you do them. So if you notice that one faction is really good at building a specific type of building, or increasing a specific type of technology, maybe that's the faction that you'll play in order to do better in those scoring rounds. And once again, this is something that you're planning from turn 1, from the initial pick of your faction. And you can even play there's a variant where you can bid on these factions, and it's so good. I love this so much. I love the systems. I love the creativity that went into designing these factions, and I love just playing them, exploring them, seeing how they all interact. And those are my 5 things I love about Gaia Project: the round structure, the engine building, the tech track, the power system, and the factions themselves. I think this game is absolutely wonderful, very heavy, one of the heaviest games in our library, but a fantastic one. But it's this huge, robust system, and it's once you learn it, once you really dive into it, this is one that you will just want to keep playing constantly. It's one that I still think about, and one that I am always bringing out to play. I really like this one. That's Gaia Project. Thank you so much for watching SideGame Strong.